We arrived at our campsite in Chula Vista, California, near San Diego on November 12th, 2025. And just days before we arrived here, I discovered that there was a hidden gem of an attraction right next to it. The Living Coast Discovery Center is a non-profit zoo and aquarium focused on coastal conservation, education, and the rehabilitation of local wildlife in the area. A prime example of this can be seen in Emerald, the green sea turtle, who was rescued off the Florida Keys in 2022 when she was discovered with boat strike injuries, rendering her non-releasable into the wild. She now acts as an ambassador for her species in the Living Coast Discovery Center, and her enclosure is situated just outside of the entrance to the building. Speaking of, let's now head inside the building and have a look at some of the animals you can find in here. There are lots of reptiles in here, lots of different snakes in particular, like this California king snake. A very unique species of snake that possesses a sort of natural anti-venom that allows him to negate the effects of bites from larger snakes, thus allowing him to then hunt those larger snakes, earning him the name of king snake. There's also this one over here. I believe this is a rosy boa, I think. They also have quite a few other reptile species, such as what I believe to be an alligator lizard and a western fence lizard. I'm not too sure if that's what these are. If you do know about that, let me know. I do know that this big guy over here is called a chuckwalla, and I also recently discovered that his name is Indy, which is pretty funny because that's my dog's name. Some of these creatures are very peculiar and strange looking, and I've forgotten what some of them actually are, so if you know what this thing is, feel free to put it in the comments. To my eyes, the California skate looks a bit similar to some ray species, which we will be seeing later on in the video, so stay tuned. Much like the sea otters we saw in the Monterey Bay Aquarium, the California spiny lobster plays an important role in sustaining kelp forests by preying on the urchins that threaten them. Everybody knows these creatures to be called starfish, but actually their proper name is sea stars. This two-spot octopus is showing off its adept camouflaging skills as it hides inside this conch shell. Like many other species of octopus, the two-spot octopus only really has a lifespan of about 2 to 3 years. One of my favorite bits of this indoor section is this fish tank showcasing 3 species of fish that can be found in the movie Finding Nemo: the yellow tang, the blue tang, and of course, the clownfish. Of all the different birds in the world, raptors are most definitely my favorite. Not just because of the sweet name, but also because they, most of all, remind me of their prehistoric counterparts, the dinosaurs. Part of the reason I wanted to come here was because I knew that they had plenty of different raptor species on showcase, species such as the red-tailed hawk and the barn owl. They even have a crested caracara, which is a species that can only really be found in the very southernmost part of Texas and in Mexico. This is one of the species I was most excited to see when coming here. Here's another large and distinctive species of owl, the great horned owl. Also known as the tiger owl or the hoot owl, this is also a very widespread species. They have a couple more hawk species to look upon here, such as the Swainson's hawk, which is colloquially known as either the grasshopper hawk or the locust hawk due to its tendency to love eating those creatures. And a particularly active ferruginous hawk, which is a species that can normally only be found in the western United States. Now we come to my favorite residence at the Living Coast Discovery Center, the eagles. There are two species here, the bald and golden eagle. Particularly for me, I've wanted to see a golden eagle for the longest time, and I've now finally gotten the chance. Now, the one shortcoming I do think this place suffers from a little bit is the fences. Particularly the eagles are the biggest, most egregious example of this, where the fences make it very, very difficult to film the eagles. This is the best footage I got of this golden eagle, and it's very, very blurry. No fault of our own, but it's kind of a shame. Now the eagles here also do have names. This golden eagle is called Dorado, and the bald eagle next door is called Betsy. As you've seen from the earlier clips of Dorado, both eagles only have one wing each. They had to be amputated because they were both struck by cars, which is why they're here in the first place. The footage we came away with of the bald eagle was a little bit better than the golden eagle in this case. We also arrived just in time for feeding time, so we got to watch both eagles eating, which was really cool to see. Not too far away from the Raptors, you can find a walk-through aviary featuring different shorebirds such as gulls and an oyster catcher. Not too far away from there, you can find another very inquisitive bird species, the greater Roadrunner. Made famous by the 1949 Looney Tunes cartoon, the real thing somehow looks simultaneously nothing like and everything like the animated counterpart. And just like its animated counterpart, it is very fleet-footed. Right next to the Roadrunner, you can also find two Sonoran desert tortoises. Both species are really great examples of creatures that are very well adapted to their environment in the desert. The last exhibit we'll be taking a look at in this video is the Shark and Ray exhibit. On one side you can find a tank filled with several different ray species, like bat rays and stingrays. And on the other side, an enormous tank filled with different sharks and fish, like leopard sharks and horn sharks. In here, they even have on display the giant skull of a walrus. Really cool. And that'll complete our tour of the Living Coast Discovery Center in Chula Vista, California. This place is really, really cool. And to say that it was only like a few minutes shuttle ride away from our campsite is even better. This place is awesome and I can't recommend it enough. That'll bring to an end another video on this channel, but stay tuned for the next one as it'll feature even more exotic animals. I'll see you then.